Hi, my name is Ben Filchek. I'm the studio director here at the Steelyard, and today we're going to be just talking about using drill press, a little bit of its function, also different ways that we can clamp our material and utilize this drill press table right here to drill different holes, variety of holes in this flat stock. So as we're going to start thinking about drilling holes in our piece of stock, to start with, I have my chuck here. I'm spinning the collar. There's these three teeth that kind of come in and out that'll clamp onto the shank of this drill bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to position this drill bit into the chuck, and then just with my hand I want to make sure that that drill bit's nice and in the center, and just give it a nice little bit of a spin so that we can get those teeth to clamp on it. Next step in this process is we have a little hole right here that will accept our chuck key along with these teeth that line up. What I like to do is I like to start on one side of the drill chuck, give it a little bit of a tighten, spin it so that I can hit the next hole, tighten it a little bit more on that one, and then finally the last hole, give it a nice little bit of tightening. The reason why I did it in a sequence of three, in the sequence on the three different spots on this chuck is because I want those teeth to clamp down on that drill bit with equal pressure. I could technically tighten this chuck by utilizing just one keyhole. However, I do think spreading the pressure around the whole tool is something that'll help us. So right now, we're going to be drilling some holes in this flat stock. You can see my drill table is pretty far away from my piece, right? I do have pretty good travel with this drill press, but that's a lot of space to travel with a drill press to drill something this thin. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen the lock nut on the collar of the drill, this post that's holding up the drill press. And again, so I've loosened this lock nut, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to utilize the crank on the side, and I'm going to crank up my table within a pretty reasonable amount of space. So we're looking at like maybe like a half of an inch, quarter of an inch right here, about the width of my pinky. And so now that I have this drill loose, I'm going to square it off because we're going to be drilling in a line, but there is the ability to spin your table like this. So previously I have marked a couple spots where we want to drill holes in this stock utilizing a punch and a hammer. And so what I like to do is I line up my punch mark right with the tip of that drill bit. I line that up and I go, great. We're nice and lined up. Now, there is the possibility of drilling this without clamps, but there's also the possibility of that stock getting caught and possibly spinning and maybe hitting myself. So what I'm going to utilize is just a simple, like spring-loaded, kind of like welder style clamp, and I'm going to physically clamp this stock to this table. The other thing that you might notice is I do have a piece of wood underneath this stock, and that's just to help us prevent us from drilling into our drill press table. So what I like to do is I find a flat spot on the bottom, and then from there I'll start to adjust my clamps. Get it pretty tight. Same thing on the other side. Find that flat spot underneath the table. Adjust my clamp. And then lock my drill press table in place. Now that I feel pretty set up, I'm just going to double check and test that nothing has moved. I'm still lined up with my little mark that I've made in the metal. And then from here, knowing that my table's secure, my piece is secure, I'm ready to start drilling. Same thing like our other drill press, I'm going to try to apply an even amount of pressure that will create kind of like a little pigtail. I know that I'm kind of, when I see that pigtail, I know I'm utilizing the right amount of pressure. Hit the wood a little bit, wait for everything to slow down. Can release my clamps. And let's say I was drilling a sequence of holes, I can now move my stock where it needs to be. Wipe away trash. We got ourselves a hole. Another style of clamp that we have at the steel yard, or vise, sorry, is this vise right here. It's attached to two pieces of wood, just for stability purposes, stuff like that. If we look, we can see right now our drill press table is a little bit high for this clamp. So what I'm going to do is come over to that lock nut, loosen, and then I will start to lower our table. So you can see right here my drill is kind of buried inside this vise right now. So probably what I'm going to do is, just for the sake of maneuverability, I'm going to lower the table a little bit. One other thing to notice about this vise is on the inside of the jaws, you can see that line that's right here. That right there, that can actually help us hold our stock in place inside the vise. I'm going to do something very similar like we did on our other drill press, where I'm going to utilize a block of wood that's a little bit smaller diameter than what our stock that we're cutting, as something to just prop it up, something to be able to drill into, so we're not drilling into our vise. So, just like we were doing before, wood a little bit more narrower than the stock itself, so that we're actually clamping our stock. I will tighten that vise. I will find my spot, and so this is what's nice about this right now is I have all of this movement. So I'll line myself up, find my spot. Again, for safety purposes, we don't want anything getting caught, this accidentally spinning, getting out of control. So one of the main reasons why this vise is mounted on pieces of wood like this is to make it very simple when we go to clamp to our table. And actually, just make sure we're lined up. So my table's not locked into place. Let me just keep us lined up. We got our vise clamped. We're gonna lock our drill press table in place. Now we're ready. Nice even pressure. I'm looking for little pigtails, nice little long chunks. Feeling the drill press move through our stock, nice and slow. There we go.